Welcome to Seen This. I'm the movie mamba, Michael Ornelas. We have the feisty Pisces, Erica McMullen. Happy birthday a couple days ago. The Gerber, the Assassin, Adrian Cedeno, also
Hey guys,
with us.
happy birthday, Erica.
Thank you.
Today, we are reviewing the 5-time Oscar winner, which includes Best Picture, Anora. But first, you seen this? The Oscars were on Sunday. As mentioned, Anora were the big winners. Adrian, you're shaking your head. We all decided to focus on this movie for our review since it won. I imagine we'll get a little bit more of your thoughts as we proceed. But off the bat, we'll just start off. Give me one word to describe Anora.
One word to describe Anora.
Pornographic.
Okay. That's a word. That is a word. Okay.
I don't know. It was a bit maybe slow.
Slow. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go a little further there, but the Academy thought otherwise. It won Best Editing, Best Original Script, Best Lead Actress for Mikey Madison, beating out Demi Moore, only the second actress born from the 90s to win a Lead Actress Oscar. Can you guys guess who the other one is?
Born in the 90s, maybe Emma Stone.
No.
Oh.
No. It is Jennifer Lawrence.
I was going to say Jennifer Lawrence was my second choice.
Jennifer Lawrence. And a lot of people talking about how that's kind of the plot of The Substance, that the me won or didn't win, and the younger Mikey Madison ended up beating her out. Best Director, Sean Baker, and Best Picture. So Anora and Parasite are the only two movies in our lifetime to win the Palme d'Or, which is like the Best Picture of Cannes, and win the Best Picture of the Academy Awards. And Sean Baker's also the first person to win 4 Oscars for one movie in 1 year. So an incredible achievement. That if we look at our Oscar table, we did okay. I think we did okay. 13 out of 23. And the ones that we got wrong lost more often than not our second pick, are should win. We wouldn't be mad. Another thing to mention, Sean Baker has been very on fire and passionate about independent films. His film only cost $6 million to make, and he used his moment to speak to the importance of going to seeing movies in movie theaters and how that helps sustain the smaller independent movies. So incredibly great there. And No Other Land wins for Best Documentary. It was an incredible speech, as I had hoped for, from both the Palestinian and Israeli filmmakers, and ultimately called for peace. The Palestinian director stated that he recently became a father and he doesn't want their child to live the life he's living and live in fear. So very powerful. Congratulations to Palestine there, and that win. Brazil's on the map, baby. So
you were so excited about that one.
Brazil is on the map. If you're following our socials, you might notice that I might have pushed some of the Brazilian content, and the audience in Brazil watching as I'm Still Here wins Best International Film, becoming the first Oscar for the country of Brazil. So a huge win. Carnival's happening here. It's going to be a great party. You guys happen to see Adrian Brody's speech? He won for Best Lead over our boy Timothée.
So I didn't see his speech, but I saw when he was running up to the stage, they were giving him some slack because he spit out his gum and he tossed it to his wife. Is it his wife? And she dude, I give her props. She had an all-star catch. I'll take her on my softball team, dude. It looked like she caught it to me. It looked like she, gave it one of these.
Well, more importantly, a little layered history here. His current girlfriend is Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife. So
he's also worked with Roman Polanski.
Sure.
Woody Allen.
He's worked with and around quite a few infamous people. But yeah, he ended up having gum, tossed it. It just didn't look nice for an award ceremony like that.
And the longest speech in Oscars history, and it was
longest speech. And he just kind of rambled on. I saw people say it was. I heard people say it was kind of like the Brutalist, like a strong start and then a music intermission. music intermission, and then it kind of gets lost on the second half.
No, but I
But
was loving all of the pictures of Cillian Murphy, just like,
just
fuck,
waiting.
dude.
He would get
He's
the
like
luck
the
to
world's
be.
worst celebrity and the greatest actor, and it like kills me.
Yeah, that was a tough speech. And then Zoe Saldana did end up winning, as we thought, for best actress, lead actress. But one thing I want to touch on is after the win, after someone wins, they end up doing kind of like a quick post-win press conference. And there was a Mexican reporter that kind of raised the question of, what do you say to people that felt offended, specifically the Mexicans, because of this movie? And Zoe kind of said, I'm sorry Mexicans feel that way, but this could have been a woman from anywhere, Israel, Gaza, and went on. I think she really spoke her truth in what she believes, but it's kind of tough to say, hey, Mexican people, you're wrong to feel the way you feel, or not really acknowledge it in that way,
I
No?
think if no, because she's Dominican, right? So she, I wouldn't. I don't want to say they've had it harder than Mexicans or they've had it worse. Like it's not something like that, but they've gone through their own hardships. They've been taken over and conquered and enslaved, and it's just as bad. So
Well, I don't
I
think it's
think she's talking from like a place of like at the same time she has to defend her movie. She has to defend herself, and like
sure.
I am a woman and I'm Dominican, and like so what? I'm not Mexican. Like I don't
She
know.
didn't say
That's
all
a
that
tough
though.
one.
That it's not saying like my
No,
country's
I
got it
think
bad.
it's,
It's representation.
while I understand like her saying that, like, yes, it can happen anywhere. This was a like this like the characters were Mexican. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was a conscious choice to make them Mexican in the movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To tell this story from a Mexican background. Like, and that I think would probably frustrate, that community. You know what I mean?
So
It's a tough thing to be in.
and the actors weren't Mexican, right?
Mm,
Some were, I believe, but
not
not.
any of the lead roles. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Selena Gomez is Mexican American, and I think she's mixed with something else. I'm not sure.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, it just ultimately, Emilia Perez is over. Movie's done. We don't have to talk about it anymore, and it'll
Right.
just be a bleep on the history of the Academy Awards. But nonetheless, I thought overall the show was pretty good with Conan. It felt like an extended Conan show, which is my kind of sense of humor. So I know that's probably not for everybody, but I enjoyed it. And like I said, we got
Thought it
a
was a little
few.
safe to
I
pick
mean, he
pick
popped some
him.
coke.
He
He
did pop a couple.
called Drake a
Yeah, but I mean,
pedophile.
it's, yeah, yeah, I
He
guess.
said he's lawyered up. I'm
He's
lawyered up.
lawyered up. He did shots at Carla Sofia about her publicist saying fuck more times than they did in the movie in
Yeah,
Anora. So like, it was a safe bet because he's talented to be able to host a show like that.
right.
But I thought he was actually a little bit more edgy than a typical Conan. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Another long one, 3 hours, 45 minutes. But I think they actually paid a lot more respect to the nominees in the process, and they fucked up on the memoriam, missing out on a few people.
A few people. I was really upset about that.
Yeah, and they usually try to do, I would imagine they have people vetting that and like triple, quadruple checking. But I mean, Michelle Thatchenberg,
Yeah,
who just passed away, wasn't on
yeah.
there. You have what was his name from Candyman?
Oh,
Tony
mm,
Todd. Tony Todd. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the argument, there's no argument. I think they just dropped it. I think they just
yeah,
missed it
they
there.
just dropped the
That's a
ball
shame.
on that.
Yeah. But anything else regarding the Oscars? I'm still here. One, no other land one. Two of them I was really hoping for. I think the shorts really fucked up. I mean, Adrian, I guess we could kind of talk about it a little bit because you saw Incident. That didn't win. The one about the retired double bassist one. I think that was the most infuriating one for me. But I don't know. I guess you didn't see that one though, right? The double bases.
incident. And I mean, I don't know what the competition was, but like I've told you guys before, the Academy isn't like the People's Academy. They don't speak for like what I
Sure.
would have considered they should have voted for. I don't think
Well,
Anora should have been 5-time winner.
that is an excellent transition to our main movie review. Let's talk about Anora.
Have you seen this?
Have you seen it?
Have you seen this?
I know, I've seen this. I know this.
So, first high level without spoilers, Erica, what did you think?
Overall, liked the movie. It was enjoyable. Like I said at the beginning, it was a little slow to me. I have a hard time when, like, you know, the work of a sex worker, right? The work of an exotic dancer, it's very repetitive, right? They're, being friendly to men and bringing them into the rooms, dancing and stuff like that. I thought maybe that sequence was a little bit too long. But like overall, like enjoyed watching the movie. Like love a good catty character, like one, like, Scrappy, where she was like ready, she's like, I'll fuck you up, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to play, like I can hang with you, like what's going on. Really liked that aspect of it. And it actually really kind of I have a few friends who do sex work, so it's like I have a few friends who said about this movie is like that's pretty fairly accurate about like how that goes down and how the night rolls around and then how you just get up and do it again the next day, kind of thing.
Adrian, what'd you think?
I
Was
don't
it
know. It
worth
was a
getting
crazy
yelled
movie.
at? Was it worth getting yelled at by your wife after this call?
I mean, she hasn't seen the movie, so she
Okay.
wouldn't know.
Okay, fair enough.
It starts off like punching right in the face, it's
something
all
to your
right
face.
away.
Yeah.
It was well done. I feel like we've had this script before. I feel like this is a more erotic, pretty woman. It was good. Well done. I don't know if I would said it should have won 5 awards. There were some other movies that maybe should have taken Best Picture, I think.
Sure.
I can definitely see why the knock on the Academy is just that it's a bunch of old white guys. Because old white guys would probably definitely vote for, strippers. It was a lot going on in this movie. Yeah, it was good.
It was good, but you're not impressed.
No.
There was better. There was better. Well, I think this movie was going for a lot of different things, and I'm actually gonna have, as you guys know, one of my good friends here come in and let you know about how I feel. He was in Airplane. You guys have
Cool.
seen Airplane, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Happy to hear. Just got to make sure. Leslie Nielsen, who plays Dr. Romek in Airplane, is going to let you know how I feel about Anora.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
So the reason I'm feeling that way is because this movie is trying to be a drama. It's trying to be somewhat of a romance, and it's also being a comedy. And I feel like at times it's blended well together, and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes as I'm on this ride of Anora, I'm wondering as I was watching it, how's he going to land the plane? Like, what's going to be the big takeaway? And, to be honest, the first time I watched it was in theater, and then I just watched it again today before doing this. And coming out of it the first time, I was a lot more underwhelmed. Like, I've been following Sean Baker for a little while now. I always root for his movies. And I felt like I was really perplexed on what is the movie trying to tell me? You know what I mean? And I was kind of caught up on that. But to speak more freely, we can go into spoilers unless there's anything else high level you guys want to touch on. No, let's get right into spoilers then.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers. So this one doesn't have as happy of an ending as Pretty Woman, I would say. Erica, you came into the group text real hot about an opinion on a few things. So maybe we'll give you an ISO and see what you thought.
Should not have won Best Actress.
Wow.
And I'll make that statement and die on that hill. Just compare, I mean, it's really hard to be invested in someone who is like being ignored throughout the whole movie. Like, I feel like with the ending that we got, you didn't see her for this strong person that she is, which it's very good to like know that she can be vulnerable and break down and like do all of the range of emotion and be able to move forward. But I don't like that it ended on her being vulnerable. I wish we would have maybe got to see her a little bit more vulnerable earlier, and then her ended being stronger.
So tell me this. You opened saying that she didn't deserve Best Actress, but you're touching more on like a script aspect. So do you not think she performed well, or she didn't have the right material? Or
I don't think she had the right material. I thought, like I said, I thought I was...
What you're really saying is it shouldn't have won Best Script.
No, both script and actress, I don't think. Do you genuinely think that her performance was better than Demi Moore's in The Substance?
Yes.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
That'll be where we disagree, but I don't think for it wanting to come across as a drama, a romance, you know, touching on all of these little things like you said, I don't think we got enough from her. Like in the situations that she was in, like there was maybe a few moments where I was like, oh yeah, this is like really good. And then it just wasn't consistent enough for her to get...
We're in spoilers. What is there anything in particular that like a scene that stood out?
So like when she's fighting against the three men who like tie her up and everything, I thought that was great because it was like a mixture of like panic, hysteria, rage, all of that. Like she encompassed that very well. But then when we get into the point where she's just kind of like hanging around Ivan or Vanya, however you want to say his name, and they're just hanging out and she's okay with that, I don't know. I don't think that like someone who just got married, like even though they're young, like you wouldn't be infatuated with that, with someone just around playing video games and stuff. Like she didn't get... I thought her character was stronger and she didn't give enough in that area. Like I felt very bored in those areas. Like I was like, this is like, why do we need to see at least 10 full minutes of the screen time on them playing video games?
Sure.
I think it was just to portray Vanya as a little kid still. Like,
yeah, but that
people
doesn't
pretty much correlate
as Best Actress.
But again, so I guess I'm just trying to interpret your description as to like her performance. So you're saying there was too much downtime for her not to show off her chops, if I'm interpreting.
Yeah, because I think she's a great actress. I think that at one point in her career, she will be deserving of an Oscar. But I don't think she was more deserving than Demi's performance.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's circle back. We'll circle back on that point specifically. I mean, I because I think it's a longer conversation that I'm excited to have. But Adrian, give us a little bit more as far as like what you thought, what worked, didn't work, any scenes that. And you said one word, pornographic, so that stood out to you that it's a very sexual movie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was under the assumption, like reading the summary, like it was gonna be like a Pretty Woman, which is like my aunt's like favorite movie. You know what I mean? Like people love that movie. Like I didn't think, and the whole premise of that probably should have been a little worse than the whole premise of him just being this billionaire kid, you know, going to a strip club and meeting her. and courting her for 2 weeks, pretty much turning. I don't know. There's a lot of like, I felt like more important movies that could have won some of these awards. So in that sense, like I'm seeing it after the Oscars. I'm seeing it after it won all these awards, not really knowing what it was, and I'm like, this is what got 5 awards. Like this was what got Best Picture. Like I definitely think they could have given some of those awards a little more deserving other places. So it just kind of it ruined it for me, I guess, because I'm expecting this like great triumphant movie, and it's not. It's just a bunch of TNA, and like I don't know. It's a typical story, like
It's nothing
I know
groundbreaking, guys.
Yeah, like I know there's layers to it. I know it's deep, but like at the basis, it's a lost girl. Like she's got issues and she's trying to find herself and figure things out in a world where we're gonna screw you over no matter what because you're a woman.
I think kind of what we were saying earlier too, Michael. I think if it was a different ending for me, I think she might have deserved it more, but I didn't like the sequence of it because we got so much of in the middle of the story where I felt really bored by your performance.
Can I ask what happened at the end? Like,
let me do. Hold on. Well, let me do this because I forgot to even do our premise. To read you as you were talking, you reminded me. Just the description on Letterboxd of what Anora is to give some context here. Anora, a young sex worker from Brooklyn, gets her chance at a Cinderella story when she meets an impulsively. Try that again. When she meets an impulsively.
This is the remix.
When she meets and impulsively marries the son of an oligarch. Once the news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as the parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. Okay, so the end of the movie, what happened? So you're saying, like, what is it supposed to represent or what literally happened? Which we can go.
Like, okay, so what was the whole... Was he, like, choking her or was he, like, grabbing her?
No,
was he like trying to kiss her? Like it was just like a passionate moment, and then like all of a sudden she lost it. But I couldn't tell like if he was like, I don't know, maybe getting physical. I mean, they're having sex in the car.
Well, I think my interpretation was it wasn't like his intention wasn't to get physical. I think it was more of like a passionate like
he was squeezing her, like holding her, right?
Yeah, holding her, and I think she was so used to a transactional world. So this guy that like has tried to be nice to her, all things considered, she doesn't know how else to respond other than that transactional, like, okay, well, I guess I fuck you now, right? But then I think it crossed an emotional line where it broke her, right? Where like it's genuine feelings. I think this guy is being genuine with her and cares about her,
and she's not used to that.
And she's not used to that, So
from anybody in her life besides. Absolutely. Her one friend who was also an exotic dancer. But even then, like, you're a friend from work where everything is still transactional, so she doesn't really have anybody at that point.
And when he asks about her parents, she only talks about her mom, that, my mom lives in Miami with her man. So, like,
she talks about her sister, too.
And her sister, right. Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is she doesn't have that male figure, in her life.
Trying to get to daddy issues.
More or less, right? I mean, that's generalizing. And I think what the challenge is that this movie did a lot of research, to say the least, worked in the clubs. If I understand correctly, like they were just like filming a night at the club and like acting within that also, like he's very...
Funny. It was amazing.
I think I've said it before. I don't think there's been a more realistic strip club scene in a movie where it like captures that environment of a strip club.
Well,
right?
And then I like even though it was like slow, like just you seeing like there's literally every kind of guy you can think of who will be in here. So like it was like that normalization of sex work that was just like really refreshing to see. Like I know you said it was like bam right out the gate, Adrian, but I like love that was like one of my favorite parts of the movie because it's like this happens, it's completely normal, and now we're gonna take you on a story of how some fucked up shit could happen. You know what I mean? Like I really enjoyed that sequence of it.
I liked how like in the club, Anora is telling the guys or the conversation with the guys are like typical conversations that strippers and sex workers have had to have with all the guys. Like, do your
Yeah,
parents know
because
what you're doing?
I
And
mean, like they're a therapist, they're a counselor, like they're all of these things on top of them being a sex worker, exotic dancer, or whatever category you put it in. And so it's like I said, it's completely, like you said, completely normal conversations that they have all the time, constantly, and then end up being really good at it, you know, because they have to do it as a part of their job.
absolutely,
She was
and
making some bank.
guys fall for it. We just fall for it.
Like
you know?
after it, I was counting like, damn, how much did she make off this fool?
Stripper really loves
Yeah.
me.
I was thinking of T-Pain for sure. Like, I'm in love with a stripper. That's the whole premise of the movie.
That'd be a good thing to calculate. Like, how much did this whole experience end up causing? What's his name
Oh,
again?
I did calculate it, and she made
Anya?
at least. She had to make at least like 25 G's.
Plus the 10K
made-
she got for the annulment.
No, including that.
No.
Like,
Oh,
just like
Well,
for
she
the
made-
week was 15
Yeah, she made 25K for the week, 15, and then
plus
the
the
10
divorce.
that's
left.
right.
But
Yeah.
before that, I was like trying to total it like on how many dances like we saw and stuff like
Sure.
that. And she probably made on top of that another 5K.
And he was chipping her like in the like make me a
Hundreds.
bell. They're like hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
When her and Diamond get into a fight, though, I was like, "Fuck that bitch!"
yeah.
Oh,
But
the best is when she's leaving, like my billionaire husband, and she kisses her in the mouth,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
instead of fighting her. I was like, oh, I thought she was gonna headbutt her.
I mean, I think it's
I was
those
waiting for a headbutt.
we kind of got somewhat of a brawl there at the end. But like there's definitely those dynamics in the club. Or like I mean, realistically any workplace it can escalate to that, but that specific dynamic is definitely felt grounded and real. I think that I'm trying to be positive about the movie because I can feel you guys are the other way. And again, the first
No,
time
there's no hate on the movie. I actually really enjoyed it. There was deserving of certain Oscars. No, like this would be a movie like if it came on again and I had the time, I'd probably sit down and watch it again because I did enjoy it. It made me really fucking pissed sometimes, but I enjoyed it.
do you think you would have the same experience watching this movie if the Oscars weren't involved at all? Like this is just a movie that came out and we watched it. You would have the same experience, or do you think because there was a level of hype, it was the bar you're trying?
No, I think I'd have the same experience. Like, I would think it was a really good movie and I enjoyed it, but would I think that they're really good performances?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I guess we can get into the best actress debate. But I think so. Okay, the movie won 5 Oscars, and I would say if it could only win, like in my opinion, what was the most deserving Oscar, it would be Best Actress. The reason I say that is because the level of energy she has to have to portray someone that, like you're saying, is a strong woman or, you know, whatnot, is all a facade. So to be able to carry that weight throughout the movie to then get to a place where she does break down at the end and still have it be believable and it's still entertaining, it's engaging. I agree with the point you're saying that in the middle, like it slows down, like the pace definitely hits something, and I felt it more the second time.
Yeah.
I don't think that's her fault though. Like everything she's given, like Mikey Madison, this is her like 3rd major movie. I hardly remember her from the other 2 movies, which I've seen, which is Scream and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like she was fine in those movies. She was great in those movies. But like when she came on as Anora, she just totally transcended into this person that I didn't know, you know, like this character. And, you know, with Demi, you know, she was great. She's incredible. She's obviously been in the game a lot longer. I just think that it was a different movie. It was a lot more satire, and that's not a knock against Demi. I just think, like, you know, she's being a bit goofy in some scenes, right? Which is fine. if the movie calls for it. But if you had to pick and compare between the two, that's why I would go Mikey more in that sense.
We're just gonna disagree.
Yeah, you don't want to fight for why Demi should have won.
I just think that there was so many more obstacles in the movie that you just see like how well she handles it. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of difficult scenes in The Substance, like very hard, heavy, and even just technically hard scenes. And I don't know. Just in comparison, I think that the way that it's displayed on the screen was just way better for Demi than it was for. And I'm not saying that there wasn't any competition, because I do think that Mikey deserved to be in like a contender maybe, but
okay,
not a winner.
So to Mikey's point, I would say a lot of her scenes were pretty hard to do too. Like being that, like, I know she's portraying this strong character, but you're naked the entire time. You're like, that's a very vulnerable state. And to make it look like it was believable on Vanya's side of it, is also like a vulnerability too. You know what I mean? So I think they had to play off each other. And I think that was where some of that difficult scenes would come in. And I would say like, she probably does. I don't want to say she didn't deserve it, but I'm on the side of I would have rather have seen Demi get it. I think Demi like deserved it a little more. But I definitely think like she had some hard scenes in this movie.
For sure.
Definitely like being vulnerable, all the sex scenes, like those have to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's always going to be subjective, right? Like art as a whole is subjective, you know. It's a great opportunity to say that Fernanda Torres didn't win as the dark horse in this category. I would have been happy with that too. But again, they're all like different performances, and I think that just speaks to like the skill set and talent you have to have as an actor to like be able to still give a strong performance regardless of what it calls for. You know, Fernanda Torres was very subtle, but very strong in her body language and when and how she decides to speak up on different things. Mikey Madison, I think, is like, you have to have a lot of energy in this movie. I think like this movie is pretty high energy, like from the
it's New York, like crazy New York, like girl, just like has to be above everybody else, you know, like it is a little bit of a hype that you got to carry because you're small and vulnerable, you know what I mean? So it is a little like that Napoleon complex that I'm sure she has to have and carry. So it's hard, like for sure. It takes a lot of energy.
Us short people all have the Napoleon complex.
Right.
Quite familiar. I think Anora wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't the best movie of the year. I think I had it like 7 or 8, to be quite honest, on my list. I don't know why I feel like I need to wear some kind of badge of honor to like support this movie. I know you, or at least Erica, I know you saying you enjoyed it. But I felt the same way the first time I watched it. I was so disappointed. I was expecting so much more from Sean Baker, let alone a Best Picture winner. And I don't know if it's just because it was missing something. It was missing something to make. Maybe it's what you were talking about, Adrian. Like, there's nothing that's like groundbreaking. Everything that's done, I think, is done well. But I don't know, if I asked you, what's the moral of the story? You know, we talked about your category, best theme. What would you take away as this theme? I'll ask you guys that.
Well, I wanted to ask you that because you had said that this movie tried to do a lot. Like, well, what did it try to do? Because it didn't seem like it was trying to do much. Like I said, I understand there was depth. The depth of characters. But at the end of the day, like it was something we've seen. There was nothing groundbreaking. It is a lost girl that has multiple issues that you're just diving into the character. Like it wasn't anything special.
I think trying to do a lot, what I mean is like in genre, it's trying to be a drama, it's trying to be a comedy, at times it's being an action, at times it's being a thriller. And I think trying to navigate between all those tones, it got lost and muddled in the middle, to your point, Erica, where it kind of like just slowed down. And then the energy did pick up a bit once the parents came from Russia. And I thought, what was his name? Toros, like the main boss
The
of the
Armenian.
gang, was really fun. He was good. He did a good job. But yeah, I think for a Best Picture winner, it's not the worst. It's not the best. That's one Best Picture. But I am happy for Sean Baker. I mean, he's been at it in the independent scene for a long time. I
appreciate that. I do appreciate that he's not only like doing it himself, but encouraging like others to do it. Love that he, is I think he said it in his speech. I don't remember, but like about sex work and normalizing it and, being comfortable because it does exist. I think a lot of people like to pretend that things like that don't exist, but like we're in a very different age where like those things like they happen and they're acceptable, and that's the route that some people take, and it doesn't have to affect you if you don't want it to. But you know what I mean? Like I love when people like directors and actors and stuff who can get themselves behind things like that and be like, no, like I'm not afraid to tell a story about a sex worker. Like we shouldn't shy away from those types of films.
And I think that's actually a great point. What this movie's trying to do is normalize and legitimize. That's the word. Legitimatize.
You said all three, and I was like, I'm not sure which one's right.
We'll land on one of them. But he's trying to legitimize sex work, as a real profession. That's a big debate. I think even, now and has been for some time, considering a lot of things that are legal business ventures tend to destroy families,
You mean like drug dealing?
Well, I was being more a little bit about pharmaceutical companies being in the pocket of big government, but yeah, sure. That too. We could start a list. But yeah, let's go. I'm going to move up our Commodus scale to after our spoilers. For the Commodus scale, you'll kick us off, Adrian. Thumbs up, even, or down?
I'll go thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up from Adrian. Erica is going thumbs up. Yeah. All right, we got 3 thumbs up after all that for our take on the movie.
Well, I mean, it's tough because, like, obviously we dive deep, we want to be critical and stuff like that. But just because we're critical about a movie does not mean like we can't enjoy
it
or
we didn't like it.
Yeah.
So tell me this: if you could have picked, and I think Adrian, you've touched on that on our last episode, but if you could have picked a Best Picture winner, who would you have gone with?
I mean, I'm more recency biased because I just started watching a bunch of movies like at the end for Oscar season, but I would have wanted to see like a Sing Sing. I don't even know what the nominees were, but I would have wanted to see like a Sing Sing or a Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys really did it for me, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think really that's enjoyed Nickel Boys. I think
like
Nickel Boys
you like Nickel Boys more than Sing Sing, no? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
End of the day. Yeah. It was nominated, didn't win anything, unfortunately.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like editing, like no way should have this said. Like, come on.
It's funny watching this time. I even caught a couple moments where like it was kind of a questionable edit. Like they cut away from like Anora and Vanya talking on the plane just to go inside for a real quick line from Toro, and then came back. Like little things, but it did kind of stick out to me. But
right, so that's what I'm saying. Like it shouldn't have won all those awards. Now, don't get me wrong, it could have won awards, just not 5, not Best Picture, like
Sure. Who would you have gone with, Erica? The Substance or Nosferatu?
I mean, like I would have loved to see The Substance. Like I feel like we said earlier, I think it's really ironic that Mikey won over Demi for the movie that she was in. Like it's just really on brand. No, like from what I've heard from like you guys, because I didn't see Sing Sing, or I didn't see Nickel Boys, but I probably agree with you. I mean, like from what I've heard about Sing Sing, I've heard a lot of good things about it. So I probably would have done like a Sing Sing.
Like I mean, for Adrian, I'm picking up like thematical points of a movie are really weigh a lot as far as your evaluation of it. And I think if that was the case, yeah, like a Nickel Boy, Sing Sing.
I don't know what medical means, so I'm gonna take that as disrespect.
The
Mikey.
Thematical.
Someone take that
Like
as
the
Thematical, gotcha.
thematical.
Theme. I'm like, what's the medical?
Eric, my translator here. That's what I meant. Okay, double feature recommendations for this movie. Adrian, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman.
You're
Pretty
so
Woman.
cute.
You like Pretty Woman?
To be honest, I've never seen the whole thing in one like full sitting. I've always seen like the bits and pieces, and then finally seen like all of it, but never all at once.
Good movie.
Yeah,
Love it, yeah.
I mean it's good. Julia Roberts, Richard Gere.
Classic. Yeah.
It's a classic, and it's something I've seen like as a kid. Probably should never been like, and I didn't understand the premise of it then, but you know, like my aunt used to watch this movie all the time. She was a Richard Gere fan. My tia Shenny, she's like diehard Richard Gere fan. She always thought he was handsome.
I think that's the movie that my mom talked to me about condoms, and I'm like 6 years old. So it still went over my head. I was like, oh, what's she pulling out of her boot? They're all colorful.
Right.
Yeah, so
So
very,
fun.
very important movie. Okay, so Pretty Woman, your double feature. Erica, what would you go with?
No, you go next. I'm still thinking. I had a couple down, and I
Okay.
don't know which one I want to pick.
I'll stall and vamp for you for a little bit. My double feature pick is actually going to be this movie right here, Florida Project.
Boogie Nights?
No. Right under it. I mean, watch Boogie Nights anytime you want. I'd always support that. No, but the Florida Project is one of Sean Baker's movies. I think it was 2 movies ago. I might have talked about it a little bit on the podcast. But if you want to see a movie, if you want to go down a Sean Baker rabbit hole, I think the Florida Project does a lot of what he's known for very well, as far as making it very grounded in reality. Again, worked with non-professional actors. He met and worked with a lot of people in the hotel. The premise of the movie is a hotel manager and a woman and her daughter who live in the hotel, kind of going back and forth. This is a questionable mother and her decisions as a mother with her daughter. I don't know how else to say it, but they're kind of white trash. I mean, I don't know. That's the best way to generalize. I
mean, maybe just don't add the color in front of it, and I think it's okay.
But it's, like you said the last episode of my cut.
No, call it white trash. Just call it trash.
Just trash. But anyways, it's a great movie because it really takes you into like a world that isn't explored a lot. And that's what Sean Baker does best, is explore worlds that either have a taboo on them or don't get a lot of light and a lot of knowledge. And oftentimes people have a negative, associate a negative connotation to these type of movies because they don't know about them. They're not educated. So Florida Project is really good. I think it's his best movie, better than Anora. So if you guys ever come across that one, I'd love to hear what.
I feel like all these people that are uneducated that you speak of have never watched The Simpsons, because I feel like all these characters are in The Simpsons at least once.
I mean, not too. I know who you're thinking of with The Simpsons, not too far off, but it's a really good movie. You guys should check it out. Was that enough time, Erica?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Cool.
It kind of just popped into my head. Kind of going along the theme with like, strong women, being vulnerable, claiming their own. I'm gonna go with Midsummer.
Wow.
With Miss Florence Pugh. Yeah, very opposite direction. But another great story about a gal who's going through it and has got to figure some stuff out, and then ends up as our May Queen, and takes her power back. Learns to live with the grief that she's been handed.
That's honestly, Erica, well done. To not have it prepared and pull something out of your pocket.
I love Florence Pugh. I think her and I would be the bestest of friends
I
if
could
she ever
see
watches this.
I could see you and Florence having a brunch, a mimosa.
A grand old time.
Yeah. Midsummer, that's Adrian. You got to watch that, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh yeah.
Because I know you don't. Because would you call it a horror? No, right?
Yes.
You would.
Well, from what I understand, it is under the horror category, but I think it is more of like a suspense thriller for me.
I'll put it this way, Adrian. It's a bit like a cult horror, you know, but it all takes place during the day. It's like they're in a part of Sweden.
I believe it's like Sweden or
Yeah. And for whatever period of time this is, they have the festival, and the sun
Never
like,
goes down. Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
where they
mushroom
get like 2
world.
hours of darkness, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not even like actually dark or something.
Right. It's like
and-
sunset and that's it.
Ari Aster movie, same guy that did Hereditary, one of my favorite directors. But
And
well,
yeah, he's done a lot that I really like.
okay, here's a moment I was really worried about because I feel like there's two really good options for our wonderful drafting stock here. So, can you guys see this little Google Chrome is accessing your screen? No, I don't think so.
Oh, wait, what?
No,
No,
we can't
you
see
can't-
that.
Excellent, great.
Look.
All right, so we're drafting stock. First pick for drafting stock is going to be a big one. So let's see who gets it.
Come on.
Why-
let's take
I mean,
Rob,
there's
let's
plenty of
take Rob.
people in this.
I cleared all the cookies before. Don't worry.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
sure you did.
Number two, big number
Wait,
two.
what did you take?
I haven't yet.
Oh,
Erica gets second pick. There you go. I love that it screams for you there.
wearing the same sweatshirt I am in that picture. Let me tell you, this is the most coziest sweatshirt I own.
That's the go-to. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna waste any time. I'm gonna take Sean Baker. He's on fire right now. He's already. I mean, the only
You have
downside.
drafted so many directors.
I mean, listen, if they're on the board, I'm probably gonna take them. But Sean Baker, I mean, listen, we've already touched on it. He's got a lot of movies out, but I think he's at his peak right now. I think he's at his high. Obviously, he just won his first 4 or 5 Oscars.
Right.
But I think it's going to be, what I think is going to be really interesting is what he does now with bigger budgets. He's going to get bigger budgets to his movies, and sometimes that really breaks great directors that do well in the independent scene. But I think he's such a champion for the indie small film movement that he'll stay true to it. So Sean Baker, I'll take him. Very happy. Erica, who do you want?
I'm gonna take my girl
There
Mikey.
we go.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of glad that you took Sean Baker because I really wanted to take her. I wanted to draft a woman, and it's like
There you
a
go.
woman who is portraying a strong sex worker. Like I'm about it. I'll take her for sure.
And that's another great thing, just to touch on her speech. During her speech for lead actress, she mentioned how like she is and always will be an ally for sex workers, called them out to show her support for those in that field, which reminds me, just really quick, and then we're never talking about it again. Emilia Perez did win 2 Oscars, one for El Mal and the other one for, I don't remember right now, it's not important. But what is important is in both of those acceptance speeches, neither of them mentioned the trans community.
Nope.
Anyways, just wanted to let you all know about that. Adrian, who are you going to take for stock with Sean and Mikey
Man,
gone?
I feel like my stocks have been rigged because every stock is the last pick.
Bro, you're the last person to talk about rig. All right. If you want to go down that rabbit hole with our last draft.
Erica
but
laughs because she knows. Like I'm
Does-
picking last in all of these. I'm picking
You know,
last.
I actually think he has picked last in every single.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's a
Okay.
wife, not an MP.
So
Yep.
I'm gonna go Yura Borisov. That
Love
is
it.
gonna be the guy who played Igor.
Yeah.
Silent, strong silent type, but he's been in 48 movies.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to Erica's point about Mikey and her deserving this award or not, to be honest, no beef against him, but he had talk about having little to do. I don't think he should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And I don't want to end the episode dunking on him because who am I to say anything?
He
But
won't, because he had one of the most powerful lines in the entire fucking movie. So
when he says what?
when she asked why wouldn't you rape me, he said because I'm not a rapist.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's
That sealed the deal.
Beautiful. Like,
Sure.
like I love that was said in an, like, despite whether or not we think it deserves the Oscars, it has the Oscars. So for that line to be said in an Oscar movie that a lot of people have fucking watched, I think it's very important.
I think that whole dialogue between her and him, where she's just like, "Fuck you," like calling him weird, and it was just,
Yeah.
that probably won the Oscar right there, because that was probably the best scene in the entire movie.
Are you talking about when they're like after everything and they're back at the place on the couch?
Mhm.
And yeah.
Mhm.
That was definitely his most dialogue in the scene was there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, credit to him. It's tough to act in a different language. You know, that's not your primary language.
Well, and not given a lot of dialogue either. So he had to focus a lot on like his facial expressions, his body language, you know, where he's at in the scene. Like that's difficult to do.
I think just to double back to the ending real quick. I think that's the part that hit me or made it confusing for me to accept how it ended, is because I didn't outside of the transactional nature of it, I didn't understand any kind of romantic interest from her to him. That even after all this would happen, she'd then be like, okay, I'm gonna have sex with you because you kept the ring.
But that's the transactional
yeah.
part. Yeah, that's the transactional part about it.
I guess the normal conditioning in me.
I think for you, I think what you maybe would have wanted to see if would have been him telling her no.
Sure.
That, in
Sure.
my opinion, I think that would have been a better ending, because then she would have maybe, and then cried about it. Like then she maybe would have like been able to kind of heal a little part of herself to be like, oh wait, I don't have to do this. You told me I don't need this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He would be like, are you serious? And she'd say, I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
You're a fucking idiot.
That is the end of the episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd, YouTube as well. Our website is seenthispod.com. Instagram, seenthispod. Also, Anora is not streaming yet, but March 17th, it will be streaming on Hulu if you haven't seen it yet. But from all of us at Seen This, thank you guys for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe as mentioned, and we'll see you on the next episode. Until then, stay safe.